Hey everyone, I'm Becca. I am part-time cult researcher, full-time chaos creator.
I'm Kyla. I'm here to keep Becca from running off, disappearing, and potentially getting abducted by a fucking UFO.
Because it might happen. Here, every week we dive into cults, conspiracies, and true crime rabbit holes.
I'm also here to be your mom, not Google that stuff that you would normally at 2 in the morning.
She's your other internet mom. We're your Chadderbox moms who are Chads and Chatters. And we'll bring wild stories. You bring the snacks.
We'll be here to do all the things that your mom said not to Google. At the 2 a.m.
Let's get into it. Imagine being told that free love is the key to your salvation and that the end of times were near. So also try to believe that maybe your neighbor, who's a landscaper, says that he has a direct communication line to God and that he wants you to call him Daddy Moses. This is all real. This is the bizarre tale of the Children of God. It's a cult that started in the late 1960s. It was about preaching peace and love, although there was a lot of sex going on. Also with manipulation, abuse of power, and it's honestly one of the strangest stories I have ever heard. So this is not just a flower power Jesus movement. This is a sex cult that started as the Children of God. It's wild.
Hopefully I wasn't children. Let that but continue.
Don't
even say it.
Trigger warning. It might, but we will get into that.
Stop the clockery.
Just saying, if you don't like stories that involve children being hurt or things of that nature, then this story is not going to be for you.
Yeah, we can skip and we'll let you know.
Yes, and we just want to give the full story. So that's why we're not going to hold back, because it's Chatterbox bitch. So, Kyla, what's been going on in your world recently?
Just working. I went camping last weekend, and then yesterday I went make some food at Ford's garage.
Nice.
Really nothing too special. Oh, and I seen my friend yesterday.
Thanks.
What about you?
I've been working a lot. I've been a little bit smidgen of depressy, but it's okay. Things are going to be looking up soon. It's just been a lot of everything that's going on with Eric. I feel like I'm trapped in the moment because I can't go anywhere and do anything because money is so tight. So
Yeah.
it's just,
I wish I could home.
yeah, I wish you guys could help too. If everybody could just send me like $20, that would be great. Honestly,
20 people send $20. Boom.
which is also why you should check out our Etsy store, which at the end of our last episode that posted, there is actually a video montage of some of the items in our shop. The link is going to be in the description if you want to check out our Etsy shop. You should check out our merch.
Because it's good for your perch.
Support the Chatterbox. Buy a shirt, buy a coffee cup.
I honestly am excited to get one.
Same.
Sure.
I'm going to get a shirt and a tote bag.
I want to get a shirt and a hat.
I need to make a bucket hat. That's the last item I want to make.
Not like trucker style, but like regular baseball cap type deal.
Yeah, that's what the embroidered one is. The next one I was going to try was a bucket hat design, but if you want, I can make another embroidered one.
No, a bucket hat would be cute.
I think I might do something like fall themed, maybe space themed.
More neutral. I can go with anything.
Maybe there's just like one little mushroom, maybe like 3 of them.
Or a tree and a flower or something.
Yeah. We can work on it together.
I think it'd be like something basic that you could wear all the time.
I mean, there's so many other things that I want to make too, but we will get to it. I can only make so many items at once. Chads and chatters.
That's what you shall be, and that's what we will call on.
Yes, our chads and chatters. We are your mother chatterboxers. And hope you enjoyed some girl talk. But let's get into the episode for today. So, founder David Berg, known as Moses David, also known as Daddy Moses and Mo, self-proclaimed prophet who broke away from a Christian missionary group in the late 1960s, claimed that he was receiving direct revelations from God, saying that God was in direct communication with him. Free love was divinely ordained. So free love, such as sharing your spouse and your partner and your children and your teenagers.
If that was in the 60s, I could call that weird crap with more non-wise.
Oh God, it gets worse as it goes on. It emerged in 1968 in Huntington Beach, California, during what was known as the Jesus movement. It was attracting disillusioned hippies who were going to rehab or living in homeless shelters and other like communal living spaces. That's, I guess, where they were getting their recruits from. So before we get into the depths of this cult, we need to have some backstory here. I was looking up so many cults, and some of them are very obscure in where the leader came from. Sometimes they can't track down the family, how they grew up.
Because they don't want you to know nothing.
The families are just very private. There's not a lot of public information on them, so it's just very limited. When I was looking for cults to talk about, I really shuttled on this one because there was so much to this story. So that's why we are going to do our best to tell it. So in 1919 in California, he was born in the suburbs in Oakland, born in the burbs.
Yeah, Urky serves.
David Brandt Berg. He was born into a very Christian family. His mother, Virginia Brandt Berg, was actually a traveling evangelist. She was a preacher who believed in the divine visions of the looming apocalypse. She was always in some belief that the end was near and very soon. And her father, David's father, was a very quiet man and a school teacher. David grew up traveling with his mother, going on her preaching tours. He was raised in revival tents and revival culture. If you've never been to a revival before, I have been to many growing up in a Christian home. The energy is different from a regular church service. I don't know how to explain it, other than the fact that when you get so many people together and you guys are all focused on the same thing, it can actually be a very powerful feeling. This is my way to describe it, because this is actually something that scientifically happens at times and there's no explanation for it. So you get 200, 500, 1,000 people praying for this one family. This kid's got cancer. This is just an analogy. I have been in this situation before with churches, so you have no right to say shit unless you've been in it. So, you have all these people pray for said child that has a cancer or a tumor. And then we're all praying at the same time for hours. And all of a sudden, said kid goes back to the doctor, whether it's, a few weeks, a few days later, and cancer or tumor is gone. How do you explain that? They say it's a medical mystery. When you have so many people praying and it's real, like, there's some things that can happen.
Hey, there's some powerful shit out in this world.
It is powerful. And it's when you get that
our energies.
We're bringing our energy together to help heal. I'm not saying that this always works. I am not saying that this always works. This is a medical anomaly. You can literally look this up. People say it's a miracle. But is it a miracle? Science wants to explain exactly what it is. And I'm getting beyond the point here. But what I'm trying to say is revivals really do bring this weird energy around you all the time. It's not weird energy. It's just different. I was raised in it, so I have a lot of opinions. But
we love them.
Chadderbox, bitch. So he absorbed this emphasis on people who could experience miracles or help give miracles, people who had visions, people who thought that the end of times was upon us, which also later became pillars for his own cult teachings. So the Children of God, his soon-to-be cult, focused on personal testimonies of radical separation from the world and from the apocalypse. And it mirrored his mother's evangelical roots, which it kind of seemed like he took a lot of these teachings and twisted them to be far darker and exploitative. So before David Berg became Daddy Moses, I'm not kidding. This is something that he actually wanted to be called later on, but before David Berg became Daddy Moses, the cult leader of the Children of God, he was just the son of an evangelist, the son of a school teacher, and from the start, it feels like he was caught between two worlds, a very like religious world, and then like his dad was, a school teacher. People want to dog on school teachers for like not being like academics. You're a 5th grade school teacher. What makes you an academic? Like, I would say teachers are so vital to our society, and people do not give teachers enough pay and enough credit when it's due.
That's why they ask kids to bring their own, like, a school supply list to
Mhm.
bring.
And see, teachers run the world. We respect teachers. We want to give teachers a shout out. And if you're a teacher, we love you. But if you're a cult leader, we might not. So from the start, he's dealing with all of these things. And during his teenage years, it was actually known that David was a troubled kid. He had a natural gift for public speaking, and he would often mimic his mom and would like try to act like how she was when she was preaching. He also dropped out of high school. Not that all high school dropouts are bad. We're just saying this is his story. And he dabbled in a lot of odd jobs. He was trying to find his way through life. He was always convinced that he was made to be something great. With his ability to public speak, he was known as a very confident public speaker. So if you can speak something confidently, you can get a lot of people to pay attention.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't have to really be smart. Another thing, you need to be smart in how you use your words. I'm just saying that's not the case. I'm saying, but that could be it sometimes. People just know what to do. They don't even need the education.
Some people are just born performers. There are people who are born to perform.
Which is like pulling anything out of their asshole to make it sound good. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, it's beautiful. I think that about people who work in the circus or like acrobats. You're just made for that shit. In 1944, he married Jane Miller, who was a fellow evangelist daughter. And for a time, they actually worked as itinerant preachers. Whatever the fuck that means, I guess. He was like working underneath of other churches as like a sub. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But David was restless. He was clashing with the church leaders because he was creating his own doctrines. And they were like, no, that's compromising the true doctrine. You can't just like make up your own. So then I guess him and his wife were accused of being lukewarm and too compromising. So the breaking point happened in the late 50s. Berg was working with a Christian Missionary Alliance, but he was growing increasingly disillusioned and claimed at a certain point of working with this Christian Missionary Alliance that God was speaking to him directly and saying that this whole organization was corrupt.
Essentially what people thought. He doesn't care from the hate. He's one of those people that could just absorb it and didn't care. It's like the narcissism.
Yes. I would say throughout this story, I was honestly thinking that he does sound like a narcissist.
Someone that knows their way around words and getting people to do what they want. I have people in my life.
Master manipulators.
He manipulated me.
No, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. You're not manipulating us.
I'm like, you go ahead and play the games with everybody else around you, but not me, Bubba.
In 1967, after years of scraping by as a bad preacher, a fringe preacher, a preacher on the fringe, Berg had a vision, apparently, that he said that God told him to leave everything and to start a new movement. And he would take his wife and his children, including a young child known as Ricky Rodriguez, who will later become the heir to this prophet. And in the midst of hippie counterculture, David found his audience. And the birth of the cult in 1968, as the Jesus movement was sweeping through California, Berg set up a small commune on the Huntington Beach, and he preached a mix of apocalyptic Christianity, free hippie love, and anti-establishment rebellion. Perfect for a lot of hippies in the area.
He was dealing with them on the fuckers.
He knew how to...
Because they were all like, fuck me. Smoking the weed. I'm underdeveloped. I can't think straight right now.
Well, I mean, his early followers were basically ex-hippies, runaways, or people seeking spiritual enlightenment. They were...
Some people just want to be in the crowd. They want to be like, I'm not saying people follow, right? That's obviously what's happening in this situation. Some people just want to be a part of something, and they'll do anything to feel normal being a part of something, especially if you're an outcast, especially if you're homeless and you have nowhere to go. You want to feel like you're a part of something. So I think that can manipulate people a lot.
Yeah, because people want to find a sense of community. And community, when you crave community, sometimes you're willing to go at lengths to keep that community.
Keep it going.
In the beginning, they called themselves Teens for Christ. And then by they, I mean David was writing these long, rambling letters called Mo letters that mixed Bible verses with paranoid rants about this is only the beginning.
You chads and bitches.
You chads and chatters. The real darkness begins at the manipulation. Then it becomes to the point where sexual exploitation just becomes brainwashing. So let's...
sexual exploitation in these cults.
It's so fun. Key beliefs and practices of the children of God starts out as flirty fishing. I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly what it was called. It is prostitution through evangelism. Flirty fishing is an outreach that they would use female members for to encourage men, fish for men, to convert into the children of God through sex. And the justification that Berg used was this was the modern version of what Jesus was commanding them to do, to be fishers of men. So he was like, fishers of men? That means hookers need to go outside and tell them that they need to come to our religion because that's how you fish for men. Right?
Right.
There is logic in that. I mean, the logic in that is just, what the fuck? And this, unfortunately, was resulting in a lot of STDs, STIs, and pregnancies, and eventually psychological trauma on some of the people who were flirty fishing for the children of God. So David Berg is a hippie. He's wearing bell bottoms. He's smoking weed. He's getting a lot of bitches. This cult of free love, apocalyptic panic, and also spiritual seduction is actually real. And this is not your grandma's typical Bible study, which is like a Bible study.
No,
and it's just an orgy.
Oh, that was right. Like, you want to go to the word of God. I'm going to put my pussy out for all them pastors I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately, this was Berg's big idea to seduce people into salvation. And this was known as FFE, known as flirty fishing. And this was a divine dating strategy. And you would lure these men into the cult by sleeping with them. This is also something about the law of love. David Berg's cult had one rule. If it's done in love, then it's holy. It sounds sweet, but there's so many wrong places that you can go with that. So love meant in the children of God, you must share your spouse, because nothing says holy matrimony like a key party in Jesus' name.
For some reason, when people use Christ or Jesus, it makes them want to believe it more. Like, oh, Jesus says this or God says this, so that means you do it.
It's trying to justify.
Like, well, they'll like make up, oh, this is what they said to this is what this means. And people are like, okay, so something I think it makes sense.
Earlier, when I was talking about a revival and the energy being different, when you have a lot of people brought together and you're all believing the same thing, even if it's a delusion, it's entirely possible to, I don't know, be addicted to that energy, even though it's a delusion. It's sex demons. Yes. Unfortunately, this cult was involved in child training, and they would say that this abuse of children was God's will. We will get into that later. And unfortunately, incest is also a part of this story. And Berg called it God's family plan. Spoiler alert, it's not legal. So,
It's not?
what? Really?
What, Becky?
Becky, what?
She said,
You know that people at work call me two-tone Becky? Because I got two-tone hair. They call me two-tone Becky.
do you like that?
I think it's funny. They just made it up. I'm two-tone Becky, bitch.
My name is either Hulk Hogan or Ariana Grande.
Are you serious?
I've been called that before.
That's funny.
And I was like, hell yeah, brother. And then
No.
when I was wearing these sunglasses and my hair was all down and he's blonde.
God.
See my eyebrows either. It's funny.
Oh,
And
God.
then there's like an inside joke. Some other group of friends. When I used to wear my ponytail, I'd be called Ariana Grande.
Aw, I loved your ponytail. I need a ponytail desperately. I'm gonna get a new hair color next month, bitch.
What if have to put in fucking ponytail or extensions that you'd be changing your hair color 8,000 times?
I'm doing dark for the winter.
Where's your extensions?
My red ones? I don't want to go red right now.
Exactly. I think he does have a beautiful extension sitting there.
I'm going to get more.
That means I'm going to borrow them.
Yeah, if you go
And-
red.
No, I'm going to wear them and put them at the bottom of my hair and make me have blonde and red.
Oh, that's cool.
I can then braid my hair like I used to.
I need more options because the red is cool, but I kind of,
She just needs to keep her hair right. I love it.
I'm doing a red, but it's a more brunette red. It's a kind of red, but it's more on the
She be
brunette
changing hair
side.
every month.
Lately, I have, yeah.
I kept my hair blonde my whole life.
That's how some girls are, though, for real. They don't want to, like,
My hair was
deviate from their style, and your style is blonde. You are the sun, and I am the moon, apparently.
moon. I guess changes colors. She's a
Sure.
pink moon, a blood orange moon. It stays the same, but my bright ass no.
She a bright ass bitch. We need to do a TikTok of that. And she was the sun, and she was the moon. And come out like a witch outfit.
I know your life. I'm just kidding.
She totally knew. Just trying to get my dark hair. But anyways, sorry, we're chatterboxing. So now let's get into my favorite part of this research. And that is the Mo letters. The Mo letters is a real life fan fiction for Doomsday. Berg would talk to his followers and send out all of these Mo letters. And he wrote them like he would like rambling novels. A bunch of random information with just like a bold text heading, a paragraph underneath of it, and that just goes on forever. These are some actual topics that he wrote about. They're literally 100% conspiracy theory and unhinged.
He's like, I'm not distracted. I'm just listening.
So he would write things like, why does the U.S. government eat babies? How to...
Why do they eat the mermaids?
Mermaids he did not write about, but
That's my own knee.
that's a whole TikTok rabbit hole. If you haven't looked at it, you could. But also, how to spot an antichrist. Hint, he probably works at your local DMV. That is a literal...
Or a reptile.
And also, he would draw cartoon porn in his Mo letters. He would illustrate these, like, drawings of naked angels.
Girls with boobies. Like,
Having sex. Orgies.
Creep.
So I actually had to dig deep to find this. I was working on this morning to try to find these Mo letters. It was not easy to find. Here is an excerpt from one of the very long letters, and I will link where you can find this in the description. So far this year, our music studios have produced 5 new tapes for the family. The family is also the children of God. They go by many names. In the memo, it says, Embrace in the House, Dancing with Jesus, March on Strong, and Country to Country. Country to Country is the first new feature series that will be in the series of tapes that cater to those who enjoy generally more mellow types of music than some of the music on the FTTs. Here's a lineup for the family tapes for the rest of the year. Tape of Mo Letter and Bible songs for children from the Rad. Eagle Bleeds, Old and New Witnesses songs from the DC studio, good for both GP and family. A dance tape with some hot hits recorded in variety of studios. A beautiful devotional tape of scripture prayer songs. Simone Black singing songs from recorded DC studio could also be an outreach tool. And another possible FTT. They were always interested in outreach. They made tapes. Like, some of them were dancing, some of them were sex.
They weren't being descriptive. They were just saying, this is this.
Here's another little paragraph from the Mo letters. This is literally what it says. It says, in parentheses, Jesus speaking. He's saying that Jesus is speaking to him as he's writing this. He says, you need not to worry about the finances, for as my children go into the field in answer to my call, I will continue to supply. I will not fail those who obey. You have obeyed and put out the call and the call to the mission field. I will not let this hamper nor hinder you financially. You can be guaranteed, young Padawan. I'm just kidding. But it's literally how it's read. It sounds like Yoda or some shit. For of this, you can be guaranteed.
Shannon sounds like a fucking prophet.
Guaranteed there is. Of this you can be guaranteed, for that he who obeys the will of God finds that God will care for him and supply his every need. And that is my promise. I do not wish to penalize my children for their obedience, but rather bless them. I will do this, for this is my guarantee that he who obeys will be blessed. End of message from Jesus. Parentheses. That's literally in these letters that he's sending out to hundreds of other people.
It's crazy how people listen to it. They think he's like some
prophet.
It's crazy how people follow so far.
And these are some sentences. Just 2. Satan wants to suppress love, but God commands us to love and share our bodies freely as a holy gift.
Yeah, there I am using Jesus and God for sex.
Yep. This is another one. Marriage is bondage. True believers will love one another without limits. This is code for orgies are divine. Orgies are what God wants us to do.
You ain't doing it, use a weirdo. If you're not in on it, then they're like, why is orgy here?
Yeah, like,
That bitch didn't come to the God ceremony.
Come, Margie's not right with God. What the fuck?
She's not allowed here. She's like, fuck it. We're kicking her out of the community.
She's going through something.
What the hell?
This is another thing that was crazy, and that is the end of time survival guide. Nothing says chill like planning for a nuclear war. And Berg started becoming obsessed with the apocalypse, and his followers were living in this constant fear that the Great Persecution, which mostly meant the IRS was going to start asking, why aren't you guys paying your taxes? Because they stopped paying their taxes. They were obsessing about government raids that were happening. There were no government raids, but David Berg had imagined that they were happening. So they must have been happening. And he also was creating secret bunkers, which were usually just damp basements with a lot of canned beans and people just cramped. This was the actual cult logic. Sell all of your possessions. The world is ending next Tuesday, or maybe in a month, or maybe in a year, but just keep giving us your money so we can keep funding for the end of the world when money is useless.
That should be getting food. If the world is ending, then food is what matters.
Even food. I was actually reading something the other day that said radiation can penetrate through canned items, even plastic items. If it's not a certain depth beneath the earth, that radiation is just going to pass through that food and you're not going to be able to eat it. So it's just like, even then, what can you do when you can't even eat the food that you saved?
Well, I better have a bunker that low where you have a protective thing that's going to protect you from the radioactivity.
Trust me, I wish I could be prepared for everything, but I just read that the other day and I was like, oh my God, I could be saving trees for nothing. So now we're going to get into some survival stories of how the end of time survival guide was actually traumatizing the followers of the children of God and the family. So Sarah is a pseudonym. This is not her real name, but Sarah claims that in the 1970s, she grew up in the Children of God cult with her parents, who were frantically selling everything that they owned, their car, their house. In the late 1970s, Sarah, a pseudonym, said that she grew up in the Children of God cult. She said that her parents were frantically selling everything that they owned, their car, the house, anything that was in the house. And they said that the end was coming in 1982. That was what David had predicted was the end of the world. So in the panic, he had moved his family to a farm in Portugal because Berg said that America was going to be destroyed. He was stockpiling cans of beans. He was making his followers learn Morse code. And they were digging bomb shelters, which was actually just a hole in the ground with a tarp over it. When 1982 came and went, and no end of the world happened, David Berg just moved the date again. Just like how the end of the world was in 2012 on my birthday.
The world did end then.
It feels like it did.
We are in a new universe. Like we're in another reality.
I didn't go to sleep that night. That was my birthday. When everybody was joking to me like, oh, happy birthday. Won't see you tomorrow.
2020. That's when the world really did. Because everybody was inside, you couldn't notice the change. If we were to go into a new, what's it called again?
I kept going out.
Alternate reality.
Bro,
don't you just feel like the world's different though after 2020?
It is.
After COVID?
Yeah.
Like we're in a new reality or something. There's multiple realities of our existence. Like with all those products that people swear didn't have a certain letter, there could be that slight difference in this different reality.
We are going to talk about the Joaquin Phoenix story. We're also going to be talking about Rose McGowan and what kind of ended the cult and disbanded it. So, let's talk about the cult is using as propaganda right now compared to what they did in the 70s. So in the 70s, they would say that sex is holy. In 2024, this cult claims that we never said that. The cult now is actually known as the Family International. And they had a tract that they would hand out all over the world Title of the tract was "The Devil Hates Sex, but God Loves It." It was like a little informational track. In the track, it would say things like, "God commands us to share our bodies freely. Marriage is bondage." They would also have cartoons of naked angels having orgies. It would say something to the effect of, "This is heavenly love," or something. And
Maybe that is the way we laugh somewhere.
hell not. And this is a direct quote from the track. "Satan suppresses sex, but Jesus says, love one another. That includes physical love between all believers, even children." I don't know about you, but just saying that out loud actually made a pit in my stomach. The fact that people actually believed this. You have to be a fucking monster to believe in this
Yeah,
shit.
I don't try to visualize.
I'm not visualizing. I'm just saying that,
I'll say this. I don't feel emotional because I don't. You know what I mean?
it makes me so upset to think about that people used God as an excuse to be a
It is an
monster.
excuse to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like they do anything to make an excuse.
True. Facts, bitch. And this is actually on the new website of the Family International. And that is one of the little articles they have is "Our Beliefs in Purity of Love." It says, "We uphold biblical marriage and condemn exploitation." There is some deleted history on the website because apparently at one point the website mentioned flirty fishing, the Mo letters, and sex doctrine. No kidding. And they also have what I think is gaslighting 101. In their website, it says, "Early misunderstandings about our community were based on false allegations. We've always promoted family values." And this is gaslighting because in the new Family International, if you go to, California, Portugal, Australia, one reason why you would maybe notice them to be different is because they always talk about the family values. You meet a family, mother, father, son, and daughter out at a restaurant, and they're really going hard on like family values. Like, family values mean everything to us, and it's code. It's code to like, oh, you know about family values? I know about family values. It's like their code of like, this is who we are. We're the Family International. Family values. It's just like another code. Like maybe you're traveling and two families meet and they're like, "Oh, family values. They're interested in family values. Me too. Let's share our wives tonight in the hotel." Because that's what God wants us to do, right? This is just a hypothetical, but I'm just saying.
I can believe it. People like to share it.
Family values is just something that I heard through my research is attributed to the Family International. They used to say the end is now in the 70s when they first started. And now they say we never set the dates for the end of the world. Although they did. And
We are attributed with those other people.
they would actually fearmonger and they would say that the government was going to round up the Christians and feed them to lions and that they must sell all of their possessions or the U.S. will burn by Christmas. These are some actual fear-mongering tactics that David would use to...
You believe it's just you can't believe anything you hear in general.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like that's just like the biggest thing you can realize in life. And like, not everything that person is saying to be true. You should question things when you were told things. I think it's good to question things.
It's good to have a healthy amount of skepticism with anything. Jesus did not need us to panic by hundreds of cans of beans. He wanted us to also be having sex and orgies at the same time, according to David. In their previous documentation, they would say things like, flirty fishing is God's work. This apparently, as of 2024, they had an article on their website that said, what's flirty fishing? Apparently, in the old recruitment manual in 1978, it said, how to win souls through love. a step-by-step guide to seduce strangers for Jesus. Tips included: wear revealing clothes, offer spiritual comfort in bed. If they donate afterwards, it's a sign that God approves. In 2024, there is a Myths Debunked page on the website that says, did the family practice flirty fishing? A small group briefly experimented with unconventional outreach in the 1970s, but it was then discontinued. No one was ever pressured into any inappropriate relationships. They gotta cover their ass so much just to keep going.
Yeah.
What?
You live or not, yeah, they're good on it. It's great that people actually go their way to do this. Know that they're hiding it.
The fact that it's still going on today boggles my mind. Like, this is an actual group that continues to exist today.
Yes.
I'd never heard of this group. Well, correction, I've heard of this group, but I never looked into it for myself. Until now.
Yeah, well, this is why we're here.
Ex-member Samantha Spalding, in a series called The Cult Next Door, says, when I was 16, they assigned me to fish for a 45-year-old man, and it was just a experiment, is what she says.
Sure, whatever.
So, just a quick bonus before we get into some more stories about how they tried to seduce celebrities and actually some celebrity alumni after this. But these are some slogans that were then, and then I'm going to tell some slogans now. Then, the slogan was the Children of God. Now their slogan is the Family International. Recruitment was literally, join us or burn in hell, you slut. It wasn't you slut, but it was literally, join us or burn in hell. Legit.
Maybe do that some nowadays still.
Yeah. And now their slogan is, we're a global community of believers. Which they are a global community. They are on almost every continent for the most part. Which is kind of crazy. Their old doctrine was orgies equal worship. This was on letters and websites and tracts. And now their new slogan is, we honor traditional marriage. What a nice cover if it is one. Just heterosexual marriage between a man and a woman. That's traditional. Yes. In the 1970s, it was, Berg is God's prophet. And now their new slogan is, we are a decentralized collective. So that means there is no one person leading the group. It is just a group of people who like to have sex for Jesus. That is legitimately what they do.
Every day.
Share partners. It's speculated. We don't know. But apparently they abuse kids and teenagers as well. They share their own kids and teenagers to other.
Like giving your daughter to some other person or something.
Yeah, but they try to use God's will. That's what they did in the 70s. They claim that this is not going on anymore. It is a public speculation. I'm a skeptic. When the Children of God tried to recruit celebrities like Bob Dylan, it was a desperate attempt to gain famous followers to boost their credibility. And apparently, they tried to seduce Bob Dylan with a prostitute. They apparently stalked Dylan's tour and were handing him Mo letters. He's probably getting done with the show, holding like, what the fuck is this? This was hilarious. Apparently, they tried to catfish people in Fleetwood Mac. Members were attempted to be flirty fished backstage. And the result was Mick Fleetwood called them freaks and kicked them out of being backstage.
Yeah.
Other targets were the Eagles, Led Zeppelin, and they even tried to get remaining followers from Charles Manson. Yes, Charles Manson. They wanted to have some of their following too.
He didn't.
The Eagles? Yeah.
Okay.
Of course I do. I love the Eagles.
Sure.
Take it easy.
Sure.
I know all of it. I
can
love
pull
it.
this up, so like,
Every time I go to Waffle House, I be playing Hotel California. Every time. It just feels like home, you know? But this is why it's hilarious. Is because David was thinking that these rock stars who made millions of dollars in today's currency, but probably a couple hundred, maybe thousand back then. Just kidding. Just kidding. So Berg thought that these rock stars who lived these lavish lifestyles that had access to all of the drugs and alcohol and partying they desired would trade that life for the cult life. But even the rockers in the 70s had fucking standards, bitch. Like Bob Dylan was like, the fuck?
that would because you can point out a Jesus cult when you see one. Probably the rock and roll people who are like, we already get bitches. We already have orgies. Leave. Like, we don't need you.
We don't need your help.
Like, I already get bitches.
Oh,
I don't need the word of God with it. I get it for look out the word of God.
after trying to seduce these members of society, the rock stars, we're going to talk about the celebrities who were actually part of this cult as children. And Joaquin Phoenix, his bizarre childhood in the cult. This is something I'm really excited to get into because I had no idea about this, and I love Joaquin Phoenix. So, before being Hollywood royalty, as he is now, the Phoenix family, John and Arlen, were deep in the cult under the surname of Bottom. And actually, Joaquin's real name, like before this, was Leaf. Leaf. His name was Leaf Bottom.
Hey,
If that is intended, your parents were fucking hippies. Like,
wipe your bottom with the leaf.
Leaf Bottom. So,
A Native American name.
apparently, he actually didn't live in the U.S. Apparently, they lived in the South American continent in the mid-1970s. And imagine this, a scrappy, barefoot family of 7. Dad with a Jesus beard. Mom in a flowing hippie dress. You have 5 wide-eyed children that would stand on a dusty street corner and they would ask for change. They're recruits for the Children of God cult while they're asking for money. And their kids, including Joaquin Phoenix, which is a Oscar winner, or at the time he was a future Oscar winner, and River Phoenix. How did Hollywood's most tragic dynasty start out as cult missionaries? Buckle up. In California in 1972, John and Arlen Bottom are young, broke, and spiritually lost, looking for meaning and enlightenment. They stumbled upon the Children of God, a radical sect mixing free love and apocalyptic Christianity with street preaching. The leader, David Berg, who was a very good public speaker, claims to be in direct communication with God and Jesus himself. He was pitching, forget other churches, they're boring. Here, we share everything. We share food, we share homes, we even share spouses. Because Jesus loves love.
He loves to share.
And so, of course, there's a pitch and there's a catch. The catch is he's dangling, here's your divine purpose. But you have to do everything I say because it's the end of times. And I'm the prophet. And the leap to the catch. John and Arlen start to sell everything that they own. They rename themselves.
Parting children.
No.
Their name.
Our kids' names. River, Rain, Leaf, Liberty, and Summer. But Leaf becomes Joaquin later on in his life. And he's
Name.
Leaf,
No.
Joaquin. That's such a good name. He looks like a Joaquin. I had no idea that his name was Leaf Bottom. What the fuck?
We have something from King of the Hill.
Get it? Leaf bottom.
Yes. And poor John.
Now we're going to talk about what a typical day was in Leaf Bottom's life. David Berg's insane Mo letters. Sometimes these things were just like a little booklet, like so many, and they'd be like, here, memorize this shit. This is like a sample lesson that they would have to read. The U.S. government eats babies. Also, sex is holy. These are actual principles that these kids would have to read at breakfast at 5 in the morning. At 7 a.m., they would go on the street to perform. The bottom kids from ages 3 to 10 would sing hymns on the side of the road. Arlen would try to seduce men and use the flirty fishing to recruit strangers. And they would play guitar, they would pass the hat, then their mom would invite them to a Bible study, aka cult indoctrination, aka maybe an orgy. Joaquin Phoenix later recalled that the Bible studies were cult indoctrination. And in the afternoon, they would actually work. The kids would hand out pamphlets for hours, and the pamphlets were stuff like "The devil hates sex, but God loves it," which would really freak some tourists out. But the people who lived around there were just like, these crazy motherfuckers, like, what are they doing?
Hey, the fact that some people fell for that shit.
It is crazy. He said that they would sleep on a dirty floor, crammed with 20 other members. They had no school, no doctors, and for their literature, they would just be reading David Berg's prophecy as children. I guess he was actually named after the River of Life from Herman Hesse's novel, Siddhara. Probably saying it wrong. I think that's kind of beautiful. River after the River of Life.
The name River.
I've never thought about it like that. I always think of just water.
It's a common name.
By 1977, the cracks start to appear, and I guess his parents kind of start to see the weird side of everything because the flirty fishing, the women sleeping with strangers to recruit them. Arlen starts refusing, and she was like, even hippies have limits. The money starts drying up in the cult, so the cult starts demanding all earnings to be given to them, the children of God, the people who run the shit. Apparently, their family started starving. They didn't have enough food. The apocalypse was supposed to be in 1975, then 78, then 80, and then 82. So then River Phoenix father, John, said it was a running joke. Is God stuck in traffic somewhere? One night, the family packed one suitcase for everyone. They sneak out and board a plane to Florida. They changed their last name from Bottoms to Phoenix, symbolizing how they have, rose from the ashes of the cult.
Go with their original name.
Bottoms. They just wanted to, they wanted a fresh start with a new name.
But their real last name was Bottom.
Yeah. The Leaf Bottom.
So they were born into it.
Some of the kids were, but
What about the mom and dad?
They were recruited into it.
So what was their original name? You know what I mean? Though it's like,
No, it was Arlen and John, but remember they had changed their name to, it was like Children and something else.
yeah.
Sorry, it's not coming to me.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I'm just like,
stupid.
You're not stupid.
I know.
She go. So they changed their name, they escape, and they actually had no money, no education, and I guess they turned into a family band, which is what allowed them to get famous in Hollywood. We have the River Phoenix, the beautiful River Phoenix. He was basically becoming an acting star, a rising musician, and unfortunately he died at the age of 23. The family today rarely discusses the children of God. They've tried to leave that in the past. In Rain's memoir, she hints that all of the family members suffer from some sort of PTSD. She said, "We didn't know normal until we left." Imagine being raised in that environment.
It's just like, I always say that if we weren't born into modern technology, we would be happy without it. We wouldn't be missing anything that we didn't have to begin with. How would you know you're missing it if you never knew what it was? I wish I lived back then when it wasn't a thing, because it seems like it's awesome, obviously. There's perks to it, but there's also not perks to it.
Social media and, yeah, the internet.
I
Trust
like
me.
it, but sometimes I wish I was in a time where I wasn't so used to being on a phone or having one or a laptop. I was born in the half not on my phone and half on your phone generation. I know how to be off my phone, but it's not really good to be on our phones, but we all still do it. And that's a reality. It's society. We all do it. I'm not going to stop. But I wish that I didn't know anything about it.
That we live in a society without social media. I would love
cellular or anything. I mean, I guess you could make a call on the phone.
Yeah.
And then text. Keep it simple. No, I'm just like a flip phone.
Oh, a flip phone. Okay, if you want to go back to that.
Just like basic where you had to actually sit at home to be on the computer.
No, I feel that. I wish all the time that I could go back.
Or no computer at all. No Wi-Fi. None of that exists. In order to talk to somebody, you would write a letter.
I love it.
Let's do that.
I wish. I fucking wish. But unfortunately, we are going to be ending this episode after this story. We're going to talk about the end of River Phoenix's life. And we're just going to have to cut this episode short because there's just so much here and we did not know. So when it comes to River Phoenix, he was RAPE at the age of 4, and this changed him for the rest of his life. He rarely tried to speak on the cult, although there was an article published in 1994, and when questioned about it, he said they're disgusting and ruining people's lives. In late October of 1993, River had just returned to Los Angeles after spending a week in New Mexico. Before that, he was in Utah for 6 or 7 weeks. He was completing some interior shots for his last project, which was Dark Blood. He was on a drug binge with his friend John from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And they were consuming a lot of drugs. They had not slept for several days. On October 30th, he arrived with his girlfriend, Samantha Mathis, and his brother, Joaquin, his sister Rain, at the Viper Room, a Hollywood nightclub partly owned by Johnny Depp. River was set to perform with his band with his friend Flea, a friend from the Butthole Surfers, Gibby Haynes. And while they were performing, River tapped on his friend's shoulder, and he said that he had OD'd and he was not feeling well. His friend said, "You're doing just fine if you can stand and talk." He offered to take River home, but River later declined, saying that he was feeling a little better. A few moments later, there was some commotion in the club. He went outside and saw Samantha screaming as her boyfriend, River, was lying on the ground, having a seizure and convulsing. According to Gibby, he said that the band was actually performing Michael Stipe. It was a song while he was having a seizure on the sidewalk. By the time the paramedics got on the scene, he was already in cardiac arrest, and he was pronounced dead at 1:51 a.m. on Halloween in 1993, and he was 23. I just...
Halloween.
Damn, it is so crazy.
That's sad. But it's what people get when they dibble dabble with the upper and labble.
Yeah. Don't do drugs. Dare not to do drugs.
Yeah, wear the shirts. That should be one of our shirts.
Dare not to do drugs. It's already a shirt.
But we'll make our own version of it. Like, change up the wording a little bit. Maybe do a different logo in the back.
That would be funny.
Dare not to Chadderbox. Or
Wait.
too much or second.
We will play around with that. It's a good idea. Hey, guys, we are to the final thought here, okay? Because
Stink, put in the clock right there. Boom.
yep, so
Save.
remember, if you ever feel like your life is a mess, just remember that at least you didn't join a cult where the prostitution was their missionary strategy.
Can't imagine a prostitute on top of trying to prostitute, trying to get you to go with the word of God. Like, honestly, God, you're going to hell if you don't do it.
That is how you really witness.
I'm going to hell. I don't want to have sex with you. Move on.
Well, The Children of God was a bad porno, a doomsday prepping
I bet
manual.
you some people would like that shit.
Some people probably still like that shit.
I mean, like watching it, not doing it.
They made tapes.
I bet you people watch them and buy them and they sell them.
They're probably still serving it.
Bang, bang, boom, bop, fake, bitch, boom.
Sorry that you have to wait for part 2. But we have a lot more insanity left to cover. Next week, we're going to go deeper into the Children of God. We're going to talk about the law of love. We're going to talk about Rose McGowan's story and the so-called heir to the throne, Ricky Rodriguez. So a whole lot of unbelievable shit coming up next. So sorry to leave you hanging, but trust us, part 2 is going to get really weird. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Chadderbox. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody.
Tell your baby. Talk to your child.
Tell your baby.
Tell your baby who wants to be my